Content warning. The stories and themes shared throughout this podcast may contain themes that can be distressing for you. If needed, please pause and do what you need to do to take care of yourself. If needed, please reach out to a mental health professional for support.
Welcome back to another episode of Resilient AF with Blair and Alana, but just Blair today. And Adrienne Harris. Do you still go by Harris?
I still
Harris?
do,
Oh,
yes.
yes. Aha. So we're going to get into why I asked her that question in a minute. So Adrienne Harris has alchemized her personal journey of transcending challenging relationships into a soul-driven mission, empowering others to release limiting patterns within their energetic code and embrace relationships of depth and fulfillment. With over 20 years of experience in customer service and entrepreneurship, Adrienne recognized the profound need for compassionate, heart-centered approach to understanding our connections with others. This realization ignited her calling as a relationship coach, particularly for those navigating the transformative paths of midlife. She's a devoted mother who lives in the Okanagan Valley in British Columbia. She's deeply committed to inspiring others to cultivate self-awareness and align with their values, vision, and lifestyle rooted in their unique energetic blueprint. Her gift lies in weaving practical wisdom with real life insight, establishing her as a trusted spiritual guide and inspirational speaker who leads conscious midlife seekers towards authentic relationships and soulful well-being. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you for having me.
So, where do we begin? I just want to say, I met Adrienne in Kamloops. I feel like you and I met on how did we meet? Was it the internet?
No, so I think I went to the Chamber of Commerce, and
Oh,
it was a
right.
connection through the Chamber of Commerce said you should connect with Blair. And so I reached out to you and
Yeah, we had coffee and then I went to a networking thing and you were there and
hmm,
it was great. And then we developed a friendship and then you moved away.
yes. There's a reason that I moved away.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, we're gonna talk about your journey and, I guess the key moments that led to you where you are today, being, a relationship coach, helping those in midlife from a spiritual sense. And I guess this journey probably started well before this pivotal moment, but we're going to talk about how you learned that your husband was having an emotional affair
Yeah.
with his running coach. And is it fair to say ex-husband?
It is fair to
Okay.
say ex-husband now. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, you know what? To be honest with you, I remember that moment in time when he and I had an argument. So we never argued. We were together for, gosh, well, in the end, 28 years. But
Whoa.
I remember when this individual came into our lives, and I remember having a heated discussion with him saying, I just don't trust this connection. And he was like, no, you're saying you don't trust me. And I'm like, no, I don't trust her. And he slowly became her second husband. And so he was showing up in odd ways, doing things for her, kind of jumping in and being her business partner, but not really getting paid. And it was a series of events. So it wasn't just one big aha. It was finally, I was just researching things, and all of a sudden it came up to me. And I'm a firm believer that the universe gives us what we need. And it was information on an emotional affair. So I started to do some research. And lo and behold, my husband at the time ticked off all of the boxes. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Wait, what were some of those things?
So he was texting her behind my back. He was meeting with her and lying about it. He was doing things for her that a husband would do, kind of thing. He was going to her house, he was helping out with things, and he was also being an emotional partner. So that's what an emotional affair is because you're talking to someone on a more intimate level. And so all of these were massive red flags. And I kind of got tired of being the third wheel.
Yeah.
So
Did he know he was having an emotional affair?
I don't think so. So when we take a look at relationships, I don't know if you've ever done any research on attachment styles. but he is an avoidant attachment style. And he also is an energetic code six. And sixes do not like conflict. And so he never came to me and talked to me about the things that he was unhappy with. And, I'm very masculine in my energy. And one thing led to the next, and it just led to this disconnect between us. And this is why I focus on values, vision, and lifestyle, because we lived a healthy lifestyle, but our values and our visions no longer lined up after all of those years.
So when you had this realization,
Mm.
what did you do next?
You know what? Oh gosh. Yeah. So I think the pandemic kind of pushed us apart as well too. And we just got on two different pages. And that was very difficult because you would think that your partner of that many years would be on the same page. And we weren't. And so I decided to do a separation. So we actually moved into the spare bedroom. And I thought, him coming home and all of my stuff being taken out of the master bedroom would have been hey, honey, let's talk about this. But he didn't. He didn't talk
Mm.
to me at all. There was no, hey, I think we should work on this. Hey, I see you moved all your stuff out of the master bedroom. None of it, none of that. And I just kind of knew right then and there that we weren't on the same page. And so eventually I moved into the basement suite and because we had a student living down there. And I tried to coexist with him in the space because we have our son is 21 now. And so I tried to make things work, but we just grew apart and
Yeah.
he didn't want to get counseling. There was no um you know again, there was no conflict resolution, which I teach couples about. And it was really sad because he just didn't want to work on the marriage anymore. He was done. So I decided to leave.
Yeah. Did you have to initiate that conversation with him?
Absolutely, yes, because he's super avoidant and doesn't like conflict. There was just a lot of me. I mean, we did get into conversation a few times, but it's a very uncomfortable conversation with your husband when he's had a relationship with someone that you know. And
Hmm.
it was, we did bring things up in conversation, but there was never a resolution. And it was really unfortunate because he was my best friend. And that was probably one of the hardest things I ever had to do was leave my best friend.
That's so heartbreaking. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. That's hard. There's so many layers of hard and sad in there.
Oh, it was so hard, and it was really hard to choose myself. It was really hard to tell our teenage son that I needed to leave and that I needed to choose myself and that my husband didn't have my best interest at heart.
Yeah. I can't
Yeah.
even imagine.
No.
So when you decided to leave him, like part ways, leave the house, what was life like for you then?
You know what? I was still coexisting and I was very forthright about things. I ended up going into counseling. I've been to counseling on and off for 28 years because I was actually sexually molested as a child. So I brought to the relationship my CPTSD, which I got help for since I was 23. And so I instantly got a counselor, started to talk to her, and she was just like, you know all of this stuff and so on and so forth. And so I got counseling, I got help, I talked to somebody, and I was kind of like, you know what, I'm ready to just move on. And so, oh my gosh, dating in your midlife, I don't wish it upon anybody.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I don't know if I'm considered midlife and I'm married, but sometimes I'm in one of those Facebook groups. I'm not going to say which one, but it's like, are we dating the same guy? Just because someone told me that it's really interesting. And they added me. And so, oh my gosh, it's a minefield out there with like social media and all the access to information, and like it's also a gift because then we can learn if someone isn't. But how do you navigate the dating world in midlife? How do you
Oh my
navigate new
gosh.
relationships? Your relationship coach for midlife. Like
Yeah.
let's talk about that because I mean, I think you know, it's fair to say that you've had at least a relationship
Yes. Yes.
since your marriage.
Yeah,
Um
so I actually so the reason that you met me in Kamloops is because I actually met a guy who lived in Kamloops. So I ended up getting in a relationship with him. My girlfriends were like, "Oh, get on the apps and so on and so forth." And I looked at all ranges of men, anywhere from like 36 to like
oh
55.
my
And
gosh.
I did meet some young guys, and it's kind of weird how young guys have a fetish for older, mature women. And I realized that that wasn't my thing. And then I ended up meeting someone from Kamloops, and there were a few red flags, but I didn't even know what red flags were in the beginning. And then I also didn't know what catfishing meant, and I also didn't know what breadcrumbing meant, and I didn't know all of these modern terms.
Wait. What's breadcrumbing? Like what's breadcrumbing?
So breadcrumbing is when they just keep you interested enough, but don't actually give you their full selves. So they
Oh.
breadcrumb. So they throw little crumbs to you, and then you chase after it because you're wanting to be seen and valued. And so this is why I do what I do, because I love like supporting people and educating them on this stage of your life, because it's totally different at this stage. To be honest with you, I think if I were to try to help my 21-year-old navigate the dating scene, it would be totally different.
Oh my
But for those
gosh.
people in their midlife, because we've had long-term relationships or we've had marriages or whatever it is that we bring with us, there's a lot of stuff that goes on to it. And also, right now, we have so much education on who we are. We have attachment styles, we have love languages, we have energetic codes, we have all of these types of things. And while I was dating this guy, I was actually becoming a certified numerologist. And so I'm extremely intuitive person. And I ran our numbers and I was like, we are not meant to be together. And he was like, oh, you don't believe in that mumbo jumbo, do you? And I was just like, yeah, I do. And
Mumbo
it
jumbo.
just it just served itself over and over again. So long story short, I moved to Kamloops to be with him. He had a younger child, which again wasn't in alignment with me, and I just kind of settled for whatever. And this is the biggest, I won't, don't some want to say it was a mistake, but it actually led me to do what I'm doing today, because it was an unhealthy trauma bond. And so if anyone who knows what trauma bonds are going into a relationship with pain. And so I took a pattern of behavior into that relationship that I had in my past relationship. And I didn't know that until I actually understand my own energetic code.
Mm.
And so he and I broke up last summer. And it's so funny because a memory came up on Facebook the other day, and it was me moving into my new place this time last year. So a lot of people don't know, but last summer I actually lived out of my truck. I literally had $200 to my name, and I was literally bouncing from spare bedroom to spare bedroom trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. So we want to talk
Wow.
about resilience.
Wow, I had no idea. Thank you. First of all, thank you for sharing all of that and what you just shared now. I mean, you lived out of your truck and you know, were trying to figure out what you wanted to do with your life. So what did you figure out? Because I'm sure life is very different now than it was last
Oh,
year. Let's talk about it.
yeah, it's totally different. So, I sought counseling, and I got an amazing counselor, and she and I were discussing, and she said, "Well, it sounds like you don't ask to have your needs to be met." And I was like, "Are you kidding me? I've been going to counseling for 20 some odd years of my life, and I don't ask to have my needs to be met." So, I messaged the ex-boyfriend and said, I want to get paid for my furniture that I left. And I messaged my ex-husband and said, I want you to I want you to pay me for spousal support because I never asked for it. And I got things sorted out. And lo and behold, I always say the universe helps us out the most when we need it. I got a phone call from my mom, and her and I aren't very close. We have a very estranged relationship due to my childhood. And she loaned me money so that I could get back on my feet. And yeah, I ended up putting my name on a Facebook forum looking for a place to rent because I knew I wanted to be back in Vernon because I was like, hey, universe, you know what? If I am meant to stay in Kamloops, give me a place to stay, give me a job, or give me something. And nothing came about. And so I took action in a different way, put myself on that forum. I had a wonderful lady message me from Oyama. I lived in her suite in her house in Oyama, and it was in her Airbnb suite for 6 months. And it was the most beautiful, overlooked Wood Lake. I just like literally went from rock bottom living out of my truck to like having stability back in my life and rebuilding myself. So
Yeah.
it like honestly, and I knew I was down the path of I was already coaching people in the lifestyle and wellness sort of department because I had gotten really sick previous to that with my old company. And so I really leaned in and I was like, oh, like the relationship I have with myself is the most important one. And so I just really leaned into that and I used my numerology to help me guide myself down that path. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. And I love that you went from rock bottom to lakefront.
Yeah, no
And
kidding.
yeah, and I was actually as you were talking, I was thinking about, all these external relationships you had and then like the relationship with money. But really, would you say one of the most or maybe the most important relationship is the one that you have with yourself?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's what I teach and that's what I coach my clients is because until you have that self-love, that self-worth, that self-belief, then you can't have that self-growth.
Yeah.
Like and it's and a lot of people don't realize that because I know for myself and for my ex-husband, he sought his value outside of our marriage. And that was really sad because our value should come from within,
Hmm.
right? So,
Yeah. Did you go back and do the numerology with your ex-husband?
oh, I've looked at our charts. Believe me. Yes.
You've looked at all the charts. You've looked at my charts.
I've looked at your chart too. Yeah. So I have the ability to see the cosmic connections. And I love the system that I work with because it can really help me guide people. It's not a be all and end all because we also have where we grew up, our demographics, our communities, our religions, all of these other things that help color our fabric. And so our energetic code is just one way for us to understand ourselves on a soul level.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's a really beautiful gift. And like I am super fascinated. Like I'm sort of like newer to the numerology. When it comes to numbers, like I see 888 everywhere. Eight's my lucky number. Our goal is to empower 888 million people to strengthen their resilience muscle by August 2030. My birthday is the 8th of the 8th. Like eight's my
Yeah.
number.
Yeah.
Um, but it's so I'm kind of new to that, but I'm very much like I know my Myers-Briggs and my human design and
Hmm.
I feel like all these pieces work together and it's all very fascinating. And what I think is really cool is that you have a free gift for everyone. It's the links in the show notes about numerology and relationships. And if
Yeah.
people want to work with you, your links are also in the show notes for social and they can get in touch. And I'm so excited because your story is going to be featured in our next book, which is out January 2025, Resilient AF, Stories of Resilience, Volume 2. And, you know,
Hmm.
I think you showing up and sharing your story is a gift. Especially because of your honesty and not everyone is open to talking about learning about affairs.
Yeah.
And I feel like you've really stepped into owning that's the situation that happened,
Yep.
and how you've taken those lessons and learned from it, but also built this career around relationships.
Yeah, it's part of my energetic code. So I'm a master 11 too, and I'm all about connection. And I'm all about relationships. I'm even a Clifton Strengths coach. And I have 6 relationship building strengths in my top 10. So I am meant to make these relationships with people. And so when I really looked at my strengths and just sort of when I needed to pivot, that's what I really leaned upon because um, I wouldn't be great at data entry, or I wouldn't be really great at, doing a lot of other things. Like I literally leaned into my own energy, and that's why I do what I do because I believe that I have the skill sets and the experience to be able to help people, and I do. I love it. I coach multiple people on a weekly basis, and I help them transform because it is a transformation, especially in our midlife. Have you heard about the midlife crisis that's going on in the world?
Yes, I've already had mine. I went to Africa and opened a children's center for at-risk
Yeah,
youth.
exactly. And so we go through these transitional times in our life, and I'm here to help people with that. And the main thing is too is that we all want to be in relationships. And so really it's just understanding who we are so that we can just show up and be our authentic self.
I love that. And if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't even know who I am, or you want to even start with the relationship with yourself, reach out to Adrienne. So as we wrap up here, what advice do you have for someone who maybe suspects or is just realizing after listening to you that they're potentially in a relationship where someone's having an emotional affair?
Yeah. You know what? I'm actually working with a couple of couples right now, and I really reach out and just talk to a counselor or a coach or something like that. That's one of the things that I love about being a coach is that I'm the bridge between not getting help and a counselor because I don't see things, I don't take one side or another. I come from a generally overview of both parties. And yeah, I dive deep into the charts and we figure out where that disconnect is because there's always a disconnect. There's always something that has been pivotal. And then I always, with my clients, it's your own free will on what you choose to decide.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do recommend getting help, and I wish that I knew the things that I knew now because I may not have gotten divorced and left my best friend. So yeah,
Okay, bonus question.
yeah.
Is there a way for you to have a relationship with your ex-husband as just a best friend?
Considering my ex-husband is dating one of my old best friends from Whistler, not at the moment.
What?
Yeah. But we chose to split amicably. We
Yeah.
have a son, and my husband knew that I had a lot of trauma growing up, and I did not want our son to have trauma based upon our divorce and
Mhm.
our splitting up of our relationship. So we decided to be amicable and not argue and fight and split. And we actually went into the courthouse together to
Oh.
sign our documents right in front of the
Well,
notary.
you know what? Maybe one day your friendship can reemerge, but
Yeah.
you never
Yeah.
know. I mean, with all the work that you're doing in the space of relationships, your paths may, who knows?
Who
Who knows?
knows? Yeah. There
Um,
I do have hope for later on in life that we can be because our son is 21 right now, and I know that he's possibly gonna want to have a family, um and I don't want there to be this push and pull between us. I definitely want there to be
yeah.
peace and harmony and amicability between us.
I love that. Having a harmonious relationship with your ex sounds like an ideal way to co-parent, co-grandparent.
Yeah.
And so I hope that happens for you. And I mean, I think it's so beautiful at where you're at with the growth in understanding relationships
Hmm.
and helping others navigate their challenges. So I
Yeah.
that's amazing. Do you have any final words you'd like to share?
Um, you know what? The one thing that I've really loved about this process is that I've now been in a 10-month relationship that's really healthy, and I've applied all of the things that I've learned and known into my own relationship now. And so I just want people to know that we're human and that we want connection and we want to just show up authentically. So if you don't know how to do that, then reach out to me.
That's beautiful. And congratulations, 10 months. That's awesome. I see
Yes,
you
thank you.
posting with him. I was like, is that her boyfriend?
It is, yeah.
I love that. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your experience with our listeners and with me and with our community. And I'm so grateful for you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Blair. I'm excited to be in this book.
And to those of you who have tuned in, thank you for spending time with me and Adrienne. Just know that life's full of ups and downs, lefts and rights, sometimes a U-turn, sometimes a little backwards, sometimes a lot forwards. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes it's really sticky and hard. And know that you will get through it. You have to put one foot in front of the other. You are not alone. You have support from people like Adrienne, like myself, like our community, the Global Resilience Project. It is okay to not be okay. We are that lighthouse in the storm for you. And just remember, friends, you are resilient AF. That's a wrap for another episode of Resilient AF with Blair and Alana. And thank you for listening. Are you feeling inspired to bounce forward?
Let's connect at theglobalresilienceproject.com, where you can read many stories of resilience, buy our books, shop our clothing line, learn more about how to strengthen your resilience muscle, be empowered, and more.
Remember, friends, you are resilient AF.